For today's review, we are looking at the Spinmaster's Sky Attack Batman figure from the Batman Adventures line. And let's get started. And of course, let's begin with accessories. This figure comes with a good amount of accessories, but many of them are meant to go on the figure itself. So as you can see, all these armor pieces that are present, his utility belt, his breathing mask, and of course the giant backpack on the back, right here where you can see these giant bat wings and the flick missiles that are stored onto the backpack. These are all the accessories that he comes with. In terms of accessories that he can hold in his hands, he does not include any of those. However, if you have the Nightwing figure that we looked at on Wednesday, or another Batman figure that is in the same style, you can take those accessories and give it to this figure if you want to. So, for example, with Nightwing, he did come with a Batarang. And as you can see, this Batarang can fit into his hands. And it can also be stored on this figure because this socket right here on the back, the way it's shaped, is the same as what is on that utility belt right there on the side. So that's one option. You can also take the accessories from this other Batman figure, for example, such as the Riot Shield or the Batarang that is present right there, and give it to this Batman figure if you want to. So the accessories are compatible with each other, which is really neat, but that's only if you want to do that. Now let's talk about aesthetics. In terms of the overall presentation of this figure and how it looks, it really gives me a lot of nostalgia to the Lego Batman video games that I played back then. Because if you ever played those games, you would know that depending on the mission and certain objectives, you have to switch into different bat suits to complete whatever it's telling you to do. And in this case, when you look at this bat suit that he's wearing, it is very much just exactly like that. You can already imagine that he's dealing with some sort of enemy that flies, or he's chasing after some sort of aircraft. Overall presentation is awesome. And in terms of the play gimmick, which is part of the aesthetics here, just like the Nightwing figure that we looked at, there is a play gimmick with the wings. So the wings came separate in the packaging, but of course you have to put them into this backpack to assemble it. And on the back here, you see this bat logo? This is a button. And if you press that button, the wings fold out. And it's really freaking cool how the wings can do that. Now, the flick missiles, luckily they don't shoot out. You have to actually manually do that yourself, which is quite simple. All you just do is you just push this out from the bottom, and you can just pull these flick missiles out of there. And I'm glad that they don't shoot out, because my concern with this figure when I actually got it was that I was kind of scared that these flick missiles would shoot out the moment I pressed the button for the wings to fold out as well. And that would be a disaster. Luckily, that's not the case. Those flick missiles, they just sit there, and you can leave them in there or take them out if you don't want them to be part of the suit. They will not shoot out. There is no button for that. Now, the wings are quite impressive. I love the sculpting of these wings. There are some really cool patterns on here, which I'm going to try to show. Let me zoom in on that. You can see those little grid-like patterns, right? Like in the octagon, hexagon shape, whatever the shape of that is supposed to be. It's really cool how those are sculpted on, and the paint on here with the gold border, really cool. And for how you put the wings down, if you do not want them folded outward, you basically have to pull from this side, because if you pull from this side, it doesn't work. This side is stiff. So it's only one side that you can pull the wings down, and they just lock back into place. So it's really cool how those wings can be either folded out or folded back in if you do not want the wings to be in use. Now, in terms of other aesthetics on this figure, these armor pieces have some details to them. Even though they're all painted in the same colors, I think they did a really good job making them look really cool in terms of like sculpting them into armor. So the details are there. His bat logo is a sculpted part. It is not just printed on there. There is a little bit of a three-dimensional feel to it, which is really good. You also have his utility belt right there, where you can see, you know, these little pouches and whatever this is supposed to be. Unfortunately, this just like hovers over his waist. It's not attached to anything. But how you put this on, it's pretty much a sort of thing right here on the back where there's a little peg. You just connect the two of them together, and that's how this stays on him. Now, in terms of his head sculpt, he does have the same face mask that the Nightwing comes in. So in this case, if you want to pair these two figures together, you can, because I think they're meant to go with each other in this situation, because they're both technically wearing flight gear, right? So that's pretty cool. And if you're wondering what his face looks like, not a bad looking face sculpt right there for a Batman figure from this scale. So pretty cool how they sculpted that face sculpt. And in terms of other details that are present on this figure, he also has these leg armor, which I really like how these turned out, because you can see that he has these little claw fins thing down here. I don't know what to call those. He does have knee guards, and of course he does have his shoes. And then going back to the gauntlets, I do like the fact that these are here because they stick out, so they kind of look like bat wings, right? So there is that. The way they painted this backpack is interesting. There is a little bit of marbling going on here with the paint, but you know, I do like the details on it and everything that is present. So pretty freaking cool. And in terms of what the flick missiles look like, let me just pop one of these out. And let me move the Batman right there into the back. It's pretty much one solid piece, as you can see, right? Like, there's not a whole lot of details on here. They look similar to the ones that came with the Ultimate Transforming Batmobile. So, yeah, pretty simple for what these flick missiles look like. And that's pretty much all the aesthetics for this figure. Because, you know, it's a simple, basic figure, but it gets the job done. And this thing just impresses me so much. I love this particular line of figures that Spin Masters has put out. I don't know why they don't make any more for some of the other characters. I know they made one for Superman, but he didn't really look that good with some of the armor pieces. But if they ever make like a Cyborg in the future, that would be really cool, because Cyborg is another good character where they can do a lot of these crazy armor pieces and weapons for. So hopefully they still can make more figures, because I don't know what's going to happen with the Spin Master line next year. Hopefully they do put out a Cyborg figure, because he would benefit from something like this. Okay, let's talk about the articulation of this figure. So, just like Nightwing, this figure has really good articulation for a figure this size, which is kind of crazy. So, his head sculpt, he can turn his head side to side. He can't really look up or down the best. Actually, no, this one can look up a little bit. He can kind of look down. Not like the best, but it can move forward like that, so that's pretty good. In terms of his arms, so since he doesn't have the shoulder armor pieces like Nightwing, his arms can actually spread out into pretty much a T-pose, as you can see right there. Pretty good. He does have the bicep swivel. He does have the articulation in the arm, and there is a swivel right there. He does have swivel in his hands. So once again, really good arm articulation for a basic figure. He does have articulation in his upper torso, which is quite stiff on my copy, but it does move, as you can see right there. So there is that. In terms of his legs, let me kind of get things spread out. He can do a full-on split. Look at that. That's impressive. And he can also kick out. Pretty good. That's a really good kick. He also has articulation in the legs. He also has articulation in his feet, and they do swivel. So, once again, articulation on these figures surprised me a lot, because usually when you think of these sort of figures, you don't ever think that they can articulate much, but they can. And now it's time for some comparisons. And let me get these wings folded out and put this Batman right in the back here so he can fit into frame. And let's bring in Nightwing. And as you can see, these two figures definitely can go well together, because they are both in this sort of flight gear sort of theme. And I can imagine these two on some sort of aerial mission of some kind where they have to wear this sort of equipment. So there's that. Here he is next to the other Batman figure that we will be taking a look at next week. The one with the riot shield. Very different. This one has a little bit less in terms of the armor, but he does have a very impressive riot shield. And of course, we talk about a lot of DC Multiverse figures on the channel, so let's bring in a few of them for comparisons. So here he is next to this Green Lantern figure, and as you can see, this Batman is tall, all right? He is giant next to a McFarlane figure, right? They're not even the same scale. Here he is next to Beast Boy from the Titans Build Wave, and even for a figure like this that is technically bigger than a regular size DC Multiverse figure, when you put them next to this Sky Attack Batman figure here, they are not even close in scale. Now, why did I pick up these figures to begin with? Well, I found most of them at Ross, which was kind of surprising because I didn't expect to see these at Ross. And they were just like $11, I think. That was the price that they were at. I think they retail for around $20. But even for $20, for a figure at this size, with these sort of details and these armor pieces and just the overall aesthetics of them, they make for great action figures. So if you want to have these DC figures that are not in the same scale as your McFarlane figures, but you want them for that shelf presence, these figures really do bring in the shelf presence. Well, if you found today's review of the Sky Attack Batman figure informative, do give this video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more action figure content and whatever else I do on here, you can. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these videos for fun, and I will see you in the next video.